Hello. So, since I'm down in the woods wearing my uniform again, I must be about to talk about another Civil War weapon, and that is exactly what I am about to do. I want to introduce my newest acquisition, and I am super excited about it. This is a Springfield Model 1842 smoothbore musket. Like I said, it's a smoothbore. It is not a rifle. It is a 69 caliber. And like my Sharps carbine, if you've seen the other video, this is an original. It's an original restored. This one was built by the Springfield Armory in 1848. The barrel actually was stamped in 1847. So I call this great-great-granddaddy Springfield because this musket is 178 years old. Now, a little bit of history on the 1842. In 1816, Springfield developed a new musket, a new style musket based on their previous muskets that they had made that had served during the War of 1812, and it was the Springfield Model 1816. Visually, very similar to this 1842, however, it was a flintlock. And that line of muskets would be the mainstay of the U.S. Army for almost 3 decades. The 1816 went through a few minor changes and was re-released as the 1822 model. Then in 1835, a few more updates resulted in the Springfield Model 1835. And then the Springfield Model 1840 came out, and all of those had one thing in common. They were flintlock. But when the Springfield Model 1842 was produced, it was the first U.S. musket to be produced that was percussion. The flintlock was taken away and the percussion lock system was placed on it. In fact, most of the Model 1840s that had already been built were retrofitted to percussion locks before they ever got to the field. So essentially they became 1842s. Now, this musket, not this particular one, but the 1842s fought in the Mexican War. And then, since some 300,000 of them were made, they were in the state arsenals. And as the war between the states began in 1861, and tens of thousands of young men were volunteering to go to war, new regiments were forming in both the Union and the Confederacy. Many of those units went to war carrying this Model 1842. Now, I will give you a little bit more information about that. Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia, based on historical records, did not report that every infantry soldier was using a rifle until the Gettysburg campaign. So Lee's Army of Northern Virginia had smoothbores in some units about halfway through the war. The Union Army of the Potomac was a little bit different because in that army, with the mass production of the Springfield 1855s and then the Model 1861 Springfield rifles, the Union Army was able to equip their soldiers with rifles much quicker, with one notable exception, the famous Irish Brigade. The Irish Brigade, their commander, refused to take the rifles. He wanted the 42s because of their deadly close-range firepower with the round that I'm going to be showing you in a minute. So the Irish Brigade holds on to their 42s all the way until 1864. Now, in the West, for the Confederacy, things were a little bit different. There are reports that Confederate units at the Battle of Nashville in December of 1864 were still carrying smoothbore muskets. The Confederate Army never fully got rifles in the Western theater. The Union Army, however, did. Now, one of the reasons that I have all of these weapons is I shoot competitively in the North-South Skirmish Association. I joined last fall, and I'm in the Deep South region, and I'm part of a new team that is formed for this year, and we represent Company E, the Madison Guards of the 1st Wisconsin Volunteer Infantry. We're the only Union unit in the Deep South region of the North-South Skirmish Association. If you are ever at all interested in firing Civil War weapons, I would highly encourage you to check out the North-South Skirmish Association. Historians, but also competitive shooters. And so we wear the period uniforms. As you can see, I'm wearing the uniform of the 1st Wisconsin, but our primary goal is to shoot these guns, to shoot actively and compete against each other, and also have some fun. So check us out. Now, What this weapon fired, and the reason the Irish Brigade didn't want to give theirs up, and along with the fact that it was so deadly, was this weapon fired a buck and ball cartridge. And what I mean is, while this is a 69 caliber, and it would normally fire this 69 caliber ball, what a buck and ball cartridge is that right there. One 65 caliber ball, a little bit undersized, and three 30 caliber buckshot. And that makes this gun extremely deadly at close range. Now let's take a look at what one of them actually looks like, what a soldier would have carried. So a soldier would have carried about 40 of these. And so this is a buck and ball round that I have constructed. Up here at the top is the 3 buckshot, here is the ball, and here is the powder charge. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to fire. I have 5 of these made up, and we're going to see why they were so deadly. At least we hope to. I have not fired any buck and ball before. We're going to pan to my left, and all we're going to be shooting at down here is just a big white board. And the reason for that is these guns, they weren't designed for pinpoint accuracy. You don't have sharpshooters trying to use one of these smooth bores and make shots at 300-400 yards. What these were soldiers who were trained to fire these at 100, 150, 200 yards, aim at the belt, and as a line of soldiers, as warfare in the 19th century occurred, as a line of soldiers was coming, when you let off some of these buck and ball rounds, you are going to hit something. You might not hit exactly what you aimed at, but something is going to get hit. So the way a soldier would have loaded this is they would have pulled it out of their cartridge box. I've already done that. They would grip it in their fingers and bite off that tail, pour the powder down the barrel, and then, unlike a lot of the other bullets of the day, this one is going straight down, paper and all. So notice how I loaded it, paper and all, straight down the barrel. Pull it up, come to ready, get a percussion cap, aim at waist level, all right. So I'm gonna load a couple more. We're gonna take a look. Then we're gonna go down and see what happened at the target. Ate a little black powder. I guess that's a danger of biting that off. Now, a soldier in the Civil War would be trained to fire these at about 3 a minute. I cannot fire 3 a minute. But we're going to get these fired here. I'm looking to my right because from the paper coming out of here, we got a little bit of leaves burning to my left. That's all right though. Starting to foul up a little bit, and they're getting harder to put in. These muskets are notorious for fouling. The black powder builds up pretty quick. Whoop, lost my percussion cap. I am sure more than one soldier during the Civil War in the heat of battle dropped the percussion cap. I missed with a lot of that powder. That wouldn't be good. Tell you what else I did too, is I ate some of it. Tastes like salt, in case you're wondering. Whoa, I missed. I'll tell you another thing it does. It kicks a little bit. I'm gonna have a bruise on my cheek. That is okay. Uh-oh. Got one wanting to be contrary. Not sure why this one's not wanting to go down. It may have to do with the tie-off string. We'll try this. Okay. As you can see, well, I'd probably already be in trouble with my sergeant. Ball's down. We'll get the buckshot down. In the NSSA, we do not shoot buck and ball rounds. We only shoot round balls, so that trouble I was having there, you wouldn't see that on a firing line at the NSSA. We only fire the just the round balls. Last shot. All right, so we're gonna pause the camera right here. We're gonna walk down here and we're gonna see what 5 buck and ball rounds did to that white board that we have down there. See you at the target in just a second. All right, so we are down here at the target. What does buck and ball do? Well, let's take a look at the target. We're gonna pan right over here. I was aiming center mass. You can see the 5 balls there, pretty much center mass. And then you can see all of the buckshot out here. So, I'm gonna count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 13, 14. I'm counting 14 of the 15 buckshot. One of them may have went through one of the big holes. So, a pretty effective weapon. You can see why soldiers like this thing and why commanders of the Irish Brigade wanted their soldiers to hold on to it. The Irish Brigade used these very effectively at the Sunken Road at Antietam, the Peach Orchard, I believe, at Gettysburg. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is a pattern or a model 1842 Springfield musket. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll try to get you an answer. I am not an expert. I don't pretend to be. I am just a Civil War enthusiast that loves shooting these guns. And like I said, I shoot competitively now. I'm not saying I'm good. I'm trying to get better. But I also recommend check out the NSSA. Drop a question if you have one. And thank you for watching.